What's happening? What's up, Doc True? What's up, T Mars? What's up, I Am Law? Peace, peace, Almighty. Brother Williams, peace. Peace, Almighty ones. Joining in. Peace, Lord. Dap Dunlap in the building. That's an inside joke. I thought I would appreciate that. Peace, Ricochet. Peace, Erica. Peace, Almighty ones tuning in. It's good to have y'all in the building fast. It's like, cause I'll get going with just one person. Can y'all hear me? I'm out here in the park, so I don't know. What's up, fam? M. Will. Right on. I appreciate that. So, there's so much to say, and I'm not gonna be silly enough to try to say it all. I'm just gonna let's just start with a book I think everybody should. Peace, Mr. Boombastic. This is called Stress Without Distress. It's a must-have book. It is imperative to take all of the learning or all of the information that we've had access to make it more applicable, maybe, just on a day-to-day basis. And I think this is a excellent must-have tool in your toolkit. Let me give you the crux. Let me give you the crux for this thing. It's saying that we are so bombarded with the idea of stress being negative, okay? And it's a natural reaction to pressure. Natural reactions want to get the pressure up off of you. I love using gym analogies. When you're pressing some weight or pulling weight, whatever, any way that the weight is putting stress on you, the point of moving the weight is to get the stress off. And let's say if you was talking about from a pure survival standpoint, if something's pressing on you, it's a natural inclination to get it off of you. Okay? So I just think every human is dealing with their own level of stress. Some might think that their stresses are more than they are. Basically, if they knew what somebody else's was, and that's me included. And we always think that what we going through is worse than what anybody else is going through, me included. Okay? That's just part of being a human. But this thing is like a great reminder about the fact that, first of all, stress is a necessary part of life. It basically goes to say that if you don't have stress, to have a complete removal of stress, there's only one way. That's death. Okay? So it's one of these books that seem like it's maybe super simple, and this is to give you the credentials of this guy. I want to read. I don't know if it's in the back where they talked about. Okay, listen to who he is. First of all, the book was written in 1975, and the author is Hans Selye. Okay. Let me say this first. This is just a tidbit about how to learn how to be a student and learn how to learn. I just found out about this book in another book called Color Therapy. Now, this is what a lot of these people do. They put a little piece of something in the book just to sell the book, and they never expound on something. So what I did was I go and read the bibliography, and one of the books mentioned or authors reference, peace, Brianna. One of the authors mentioned or referenced in that book is Hans Selye, and it's talking about hormones. But it's like he just give a little drive-by snippet on it, and I'm like, man, this ain't cutting it, you know. So what do? Let's go and look up who Hans Selye is, and then you find out all these books he's written. Then you go and look up, or who was he? Okay, so this is a window into just from a academic perspective and just a societal standpoint. Hans Selye, MD, professor and director of the Institute of Experimental Medicine and Surgery in the University of Montreal. Let me skip down to listen to this. Let me see. He's written 28 books at the time that this was published. At this time, he had 40 years of laboratory research. So I want you to understand and put this into perspective. Copyright on this book is 1975. Count back 40 years from 1975, 1935. Okay? And then you look at history horizontally at what all is going on in the world in 1935. That's a whole nother conversation. Either way, he received numerous medals, awards, and honorary fellowships from scientific societies throughout the world, and has been made a companion of the Order of Canada, his country's highest honor. I just wanted to read that just to give a backdrop. You need to know a little something about people when you read their stuff. It's good to know that. So although things are very simple in this book, the way I like them, he's given advanced science, especially for 1935, you know, and then, you know, 40. This is the culmination of 40 years. But to even be thinking on this level in 1935, you know, people were in the throes of the Depression at this time. But while all of this was going on, somebody was sitting around contemplating on something much greater. Okay? So I want to read something really simple. I actually took notes. I don't know. I've been taking notes on this book, and I don't know if I wrote this down in my notes, but if I didn't, I'll find the page, because I want to read what he says about I think the other notes I took, I just so happened, see, since I ain't driving, we can give a little we can make this thing a little more of a learning experience. And this is just impromptu. I just was driving, so I'm gonna pull over and we're gonna chat. But let me find the notes I took on. Okay, here they are. I don't know if I wrote that down. Here we go. Stress. First of all, let's define stress as how he defines it. Stress without stress. Stress, the non-specific response of the body to demand made upon it. I want to stop right here and just say, just from the aspect of melanin. Melanin is so popular now. Melanin. Let's just understand something about melanin. It is a neurochemical which the endocrine system, the nervous system, and the digestive system and the immune system have a very close relationship, as in they're pretty much the same. What happens with one affects the other, okay? So this neurochemical that we talk about, melanin, for it to be reach its full potential, it has to be stressed. It can't survive without stress. That is its number one catalyst to doing what it looks to do, which is to change and to become. It is an agent of becoming. It is not something that gets you a get out of jail free pass or whatever. It is something that gives you the ability to endure. So, just from that perspective, with that in mind, now just think about stress and taking a different stance or a different perspective on stress, or at least having a higher understanding. You know, a lot of things are a lot easier to endure when you understand them. There's an old hadith I love to reference where it's Moses and El Akhdar, and man, Moses is bugging. He keeps questioning Akhdar. He wants to get to the crossroads and to move on, and Akhdar keeps doing things that Moses don't agree with, because on the surface it looks like it's bad. You understand? And Akhdar says, I told you, you idiot, you didn't have the patience and the temperance to go along and learn what you needed to learn. We could kind of liken that story to stress and changing the spin on stress so that it can become a tool to be used for your elevation instead of elimination. Once again, kind of like that. Changing to the perspective so that stress can become a tool of not your, but our elevation instead of our elimination. The research he found, or that he came across or conducted, Selly, just cutting to the chase. Let me close this up because the wind blowing. Let's see. I want to find his what he says about work, and y'all just bear with me here. Let me find this because I know I tagged the page. Bear with me 1 second. First of all, while I'm looking for that, let me say this, that when a stress hits, there are 3 basic responses. And one is to ignore it. 2 is to fight it. And 3 is to attempt to escape it. As you can see, there is no right or wrong answer based on these choices. You know, it's not something cut and dry. And ain't that so much like life? Ain't that so much like everything don't always, it just don't come out just algebraic as we would like it to. You know, like I can bust this thing down to an equation and figure out how it's not life. There's always an element of chaos in life, just like there's always an element of order. In the Greek mythologies, you get Robert Graves' Greek myths, and I'm still looking here. I'm filibustering, as you can see. But he talks about in the back, there's a name of a god and goddess, and their names equate to grapes and honey. Now, grapes and honey are also synonymous with the neurochemical melanin. Here we go. And but what it is telling us is that grapes represent the chaos. Okay? Because grape is the crude substance, just like oil. Okay? Grapes being refined into their greater potential is the process of fermentation and being pressed. That's why you always hear the wine press referred to in the Bible, the wine press. So in the process of fermenting and being pressed, they then become their greater potential, which is wine. Honey, when you see, one of the ways sugar can be referenced in ancient texts is by honey. Or it might be referenced as soma or some other substance, but you rarely just see sugar unless you go to, let's see, in Hebrew, sugar is, I don't know if it's sukkar. I know that's in Arabic, but I'm sure it's probably something close to that. Sukkah. But honey sometimes is used as a reference for sugar or the properties of sugar. Okay? So sugar provides the order because the structure is the fermentation for the grape to become what it is to become. That leads me up to this. If the sugar is not converted into its higher potential, what happens to it? Anybody wanna chime in? Some audience participation. What happens if sugar does not go and fulfill its potential? There ain't nothing complicated. Somebody, can y'all hear me? What happens when sugar does not fulfill its potential? What happens in the human body if sugar does not fulfill its purpose? Going once? No. Being stored as glycogen is sugar fulfilling its purpose or part of its purpose. But I'm glad you know what glycogen is. Glycogen is when sugar is stored in muscle. Okay, Ricochet, you getting there, but crystallization is not necessarily something. I'm pointing to a negative end. Let me say that. But going back, dark truth about the glycogen. Glycogen is when sugar has been funneled from the blood or from the pancreas. Insulin comes out from the pancreas and it drives sugar, okay? Sugar then needs to be, if it is utilized at its most effective level, it is driven into the muscles and stored as glycogen. For your glycogen receptors in your muscles to be as functional and active as they need to be, you need to have activity in the muscle. Okay? So that's what I'm saying is if sugar don't even get to the muscle, what happens if the sugar just not even get to the muscle? It does. Now we getting close. It turns to fat. It can eventually shut down. It's not going to do that immediately. It can eventually shut down your nervous system, but y'all, it's simple. It becomes toxic. Most of the things related to the body come back to water. In the beginning was the word. Word means sound. Sound means water. It's all about water. Okay? So the insulin is a form of water that has taken on a different frequency once it forms the pancreas, and its job is to drive sugar to where it can be utilized for energy. If sugar is not utilized for energy, it becomes toxic because it sits. That's why stagnant water attracts parasites. A parasite called a mosquito, because it's not fulfilling its purpose. Water's purpose is to move. It's a current. It's to carry energy. So sugar needs the order for it to be driven into its higher potential, and it also needs work. It says man must work. I think we have to begin by clearly let me back up, because this is some prophetic stuff right here. Let me go to the previous page. Mind you, he's writing in 1975 on the tail end of a 40-year career. The many technological innovations and the social changes in family structure, in the respective rights and duties of men and women, and in the type of work now in demand because of urbanization, which I have witnessed during my lifetime, have faced society with unprecedented requirements for constant adaptability. They need to work on their punctuation, but we ain't gonna trip. Those of us who have experienced all these transitions cannot stand by idly watching the gradual displacement in the young of a sense of purpose by a sense of despair. To overcome the present wave of unnerving frustration that can express itself only in violence and brutality, young people must be convinced that they cannot succeed in quenching their normal thirst for achievement by the compulsive hunt for more and more amorous victories, or by trying to attract attention through bizarre behavior. Now that right there, that last pit, and some of this is, you got some of that you have to eat the fish and spit out the bones. Don't get caught up in some of the more conservative sounding language and this and that. Don't be off put. Don't miss the message, especially at the end. Thirst for achievement by the compulsive hunt for more and more amorous victories, or by trying to attract attention through bizarre behavior. Fast forward 44 years. Where it's natural for us to have this desire to try to figure out a way to just exist without doing nothing. As my mama say, living the life of Riley. But I want to drop a gem on you. The baby boomer generation, and you can count 3 to 4 generations back, people worked hard. I'm talking hard. My grandmother is gonna be 90 in January, God willing, and done worked, done cleaned up people's houses up until she was, I want to say, almost 70, cleaning people's houses, raising their children, cleaning in a university, going clean a professor's house at night, 12 at midnight. My mother started out as a maid in high school. She eventually went to college, dropped out, had babies, went back, became a teacher, but still worked three jobs. And you go back before that, and a lot of people were still basically living the same agricultural life of slaves. They had a little more freedom, but these people, there was something that cannot be denied about these people, is that they were tough. And there's something that was being studied about them the whole way. Because study of hormones really officially goes into play in like 1840s. Arnold Bertram, I think was his name. He did an experiment on roosters. He was a zoo curator. And that's when they discovered testosterone. Because he cut off testicles and then did all some Frankenstein stuff. And that's how they discovered that testosterone, how it works in the body. So this is, like I say, you got to always look at what's going on horizontally in history. 1840, we still have chattel slavery. And I have a book called Secret and Sacred, and it's about a slave owner named John Hammond. This is a primary source. This is not secondary, this is primary, because it is his diary. It shows him lamenting about, oh, he lost a slave boy today, he lost a slave woman and a Negro, this and oh God, what have I done for you to turn? It's crazy. It's got him saying his little prayers in the diary. It's crazy, man. But bottom line is that we've always been, statistics have been kept on us. So as science has progressed, as medicine has progressed, the research on us has progressed. So by the time we get up to the 20th century, the name hormone actually is crowned. That word didn't exist before the 20th century, hormones. Okay? They call them juices or secretions or other types of things. Um, but with the term hormone, it became less mystical, and it demystified it, made it sound more scientific. But what I'm trying to say is that it's very plausible that through studying 4 or 5 generations, that there was a realization that work is necessary for these people. And I'm not saying that to support chattel slavery. I'm just saying the fact that you can endure it. That's something otherworldly. Standing out in the sun in Mississippi for 14, 15 hours, that's otherworldly. And still have the energy to want to have sex that night. That's some Superman planet Krypton. Man, shoot. So it's very plausible as well that the emergence into the climate controlled 3x5 cubicle has been one of the most diabolically planned things in history. What this book also says is that you have to combat stress with stress. If you're under stress, you've got to create a different type of stress to filter the stress that you want to get rid of. Now we're starting to talk some magic. We're starting to get into some magic now, because what do you learn about with sigil magic? You learn that when you create a sigil or any other type of, the word ritual means arrangement, okay? So anytime you make any type of arrangement in your mind or using whatever you want to use, you need to forget about it. You need to direct your energy somewhere else, because it works in the dark. It does not work with a flashlight on it. Okay? Same thing that if you want to counteract stress, because I'm not going to be the idiot to sit here and tell you need to quit your job, because that's stupid. You know, you need to plan on things like that. Pick this up from this thing, flip over. That's right. Real rap. Hey, let me read that comment. Shucks. Dark Truth said, kind of like having an argument with your woman and you go hit the heavy, you talking about the heavy bag, I'm sure, for a few rounds. Real rap, man. Keep you out of prison, keep you out of the courtroom, and it's going to help you. See, this is what happened. When another experiment, a guy, now listen to this crazy mess. Another guy he goes to the butcher and he gets the adrenal glands from a pig, from a sheep and a cow. And just as an experiment, he experiments by giving it to his son. Man, some of this stuff is unbelievable. And he's credited, I think his name was George Oliver, and he's credited with the so-called discovery. Ain't that something? The discovery of something that's always been there. The discovery of adrenal glands, or the effects of what we call adrenaline. Okay, so check this. You sitting down, not moving for 9 to 12 hours. Okay, when you get up and move, uh, you're gonna go and get you something to eat. Usually that's high in sugar because your blood sugar is low, and it causes uh, uh, a misfire in the brain to where you think you're hungry and you're thirsty. First of all, you're probably thirsty, and then because you don't have any protein, which is a form of fire, in your blood to stabilize the sugar. Fire as in honey, as in protein, stabilizes sugar. It's a controller, okay? It gives the order to the grape, just like the honey. Without that in your blood sugar does this. So you catch it in a dip, you sleepy, okay? So now you want to drink you some coffee with 10 gallons of sugar in it. You want to eat you something and you get that quick spike. I just got a low battery warning. I forgot about this phone. I'm on this phone. So okay, we're gonna have to fast forward this. It had to be another. We have to do another segment, several segments. It just is never ending. Okay, so look, fast. Without the protein, sugar's more volatile. It vacillates. Okay, you eat more sugar, you fall more into a stupor. The sugar does not move because you're going to go back to a cubicle and sit. Okay, now you have toxins in your system. Okay, it's not moving. Now, work. Why work is important. You need to make your mind up that when you get off from their work, that when you go and do another type of work, it's your work. And I'm leapfrogging way ahead here. It is imperative, especially for our generations and moving forward, that you have some type of exercise life. It's imperative because, like I said, you need work to be able to flourish. If you don't have demands put upon you, you are literally just candidating or campaigning for death. Okay, so I just for my phone go dead. Work. Figure out how to be the author of your own stress. Don't continuously try to figure out ways to respond to somebody's stress that's put on you directly. Learn how to, like I said, create your own stress. And one of the best ways is to work out. Now see what's the way I'm at right now. I'm at the park. Okay? And this is a pretty big park. Simply committing to, I'm gonna get out here, I'm gonna start where you're at. Start where you're at. The practical is now meeting the magical. Time to cross the streams. Okay? Merge the worlds. Stop looking for the division because there ain't one. Now, I'm going to leave you with this jewel. Researchers found in the 60s that on the heart, no. This goes back to the 1700s, pardon me. That the heart, this is another conversation we're going to have. The heart scientifically is an organ of manifestation. Because when the heart rate is elevated, it then moves what they called back then more vitality to the rest of the body. Now, we always, talk about the heart chakra and things, and it's not poppycock. It's just real. All this stuff is real. It needs, in my humble opinion, some applicable methods though to look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you a ritual. It's just scientific. When you're out doing your cardiovascular work, cardio means heart. So you're training your heart to efficiently force or not to distribute vitality throughout your body. That's the word, okay? That's what cardiovascular training does by adding a form of stress to it, okay? Now that's on a purely physiological, from a purely physiological standpoint, okay? From a magical perspective, I'm not speculating on this, I'm telling you what I know. While your heart rate is elevated, that is your time to visualize using your imagination. And I'm going to be talking more about this, about imagination, not from just some speculative stuff. We're talking about the research to back up what you already know, basically. And whenever you can back up what you already know, it fortifies your confidence. When your confidence is fortified, you are a manifestation machine. Real rap. Why you think sex magic works? What happens in the midst of it? Your heart rate gets elevated. When the heart rate is elevated, it opens up a door or a chakra or a wheel of energy to where it is dispersing intent throughout your body. Taking some time and going and doing something to elevate your heart rate for at least 20 minutes every day. And not just an activity. So no, just having sex won't get it. That's an activity. We're talking about something that is outside of your norm. You know? So just walking, people say, well, I walk around my job. That's an activity your body has adjusted to. Your body is an intelligent, sentient, I don't want to say machine, but I'm going to say machine, thinking, feeling, intelligently designed and feeling and thinking unit. So it adapts to normal stuff you do. We're talking about something outside of the fray of what you normally would do. You need to create your stress, become the author of your stress. We're going to talk more about it. This is very abbreviated. I could sit here for another 3 hours. Well, 3 hours on top of what it's just so much. But that's enough for now. Thanks for chiming in, tuning in, and all that. I'm gonna read through the comments. I'm trying to be like, how you're supposed to be on social media. You're supposed to read through the comments, acknowledge. When the heart is being worked out, it pushes out the toxins and builds your armor muscles. Real. Another conversation we're gonna get into, how do we actually go about doing it? Simply walking is key also. Exactly. That's why gossip and competition is so prevalent in the cubicle work setting versus carpentry or some type of real rap. And this is not to put down people who are working, and don't get this misconstrued, because I ain't one of them people who gonna tell you you're an idiot because you got a job and then be like, support me on Patreon. No, I got a job too. So that's definitely not we're talking about, you want to understand though, what are the implications if you don't have countermeasures. Okay, I want to make sure I'm clear on that. We're talking about countermeasures to offset chemical reactions that are going on inside your body, regardless of whether you want them to or not. So you're taking control, okay? But that's true. It does. They do breed that environment like a chicken coop, He said, they was telling us in the Marines, the age of swords, people ate glands, fat, and herbs. Real rap, Yoel. Feeding them adrenaline. Or kind of like having an argument. Oh yeah, that's the comment of the year so far. Dark Truth is running. He's in the class of his own with that comment. Peace, Prince Nakeem. Priest LL. Yeah, we're gonna expand on it, But appreciate y'all tuning in. Hey, as always, stay down till you get up, and when you get up, stay down. I'm looking over here. That's why I look cockeyed. The camera is here, but it's all good. Peace.